Hi there everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a little review on the Crossover 2, which is another die cutting machine by Maker's Movement. So let's get started. Before we get started with the cutting, I want to just say what a great tool this is, that having the manual. So I recommend keeping it close on hand wherever you keep your machine. You could even cut this out and, put a little string and ribbon and laminate it so that way it stays on your machine at all times so you don't lose it. So it's going to tell you what type of media you can cut, and it's going to tell you what setting to use on the little wheel, and it's also going to let you know how many layers of that you're able to cut with just one rotation of the wheel. So it goes off also to the other side where it shows the different types of paper and great for card makers, and also the embossing for the different embossing folders. So I'm going to be sharing with you how to cut out, or how I cut out, how easy it is to cut out this foam adhesive board, and also just some regular fun foam that I love to use for different sentiments. And I'm going to show you how to cut out how I'm going to cut out this cork board, and some felt, and some regular cardstock. So let's go ahead and get the machine ready to start cutting. Okay, so here is the machine. It is very heavy. It's not one that I would say that you're going to want to take with you everywhere. It's very sturdy, but it's beautiful, isn't it? Don't you just love that color? So the way you open it is you just pull it open. Has some Velcro pieces here to make sure it stays closed. And I'm just going to turn it this way. Well, actually, let's leave it open this way so that way you can see the different knob. So you have up and down to figure out which pressure you wanted to use. So these are all the different numbers. So just like how the manual says. And now we'll go ahead and turn it this way. And it's very, very sturdy. So that's one good point for it to be super heavy, is it is amazingly sturdy. So the boards that we use is going to be a little bit different than what we're used to. So we're going to you get one of these platforms that's regular standard, that really thick white board. Then you have a clear one, so that's pretty standard too. But then you get this metal sheet, which is what you use for the dies to cut into, which gives it such a crisp die cut, and also it doesn't ruin these boards. I have so many warped boards, so it's I believe so far, I mean, I've used it plenty of times already, and it doesn't really even make there's little indentations, but you can tell that it's going to go far, so you're going to be able to use this a lot. So what you're going to do is get it ready to cut. You're going to set it on the board. I always like to cut face down, so that way I can see exactly what I'm cutting. And the first thing I'm going to cut is this foam adhesive sheet. And I'm going to be using this Maker's Movement dies, perfect for the foam cutters, see? And this is great for shaker cards, which is what I have an example for you today, which I will show as soon as I'm finished. So we're going to place this down, and I'm going to check on my little manual to see exactly what I'm going to cut it at. So it says to cut it at an 8 for some craft foam. So I'm going to go ahead and set my settings to 8. So just going to scroll this up. Now it is on the 8. And then I'm going to take the top part of my sandwich and I'm going to run it through. And I'm not even, usually it would be going flopping all over the place with my other die cutting machine, but it's very, very smooth. And you can see that it's cut through all the layers. It is going to be a little sticky since this is foam and it's adhesive at the same time, but look how crisp that was. And each of these different layers I can use to make a shaker card. I'm just going to stick those off to the side, and so I can show you the card that I made. So here is the card that I made using the new stamp set called BEARY Christmas. Love this, it's super cute. And I made a shaker card, but instead of using acetate, I'm using some vellum, so it looks like, you know, it's snowy storm back far in the background. You can see the cute little houses that are back there. And I cut out all of the bears. I did some fussy cutting. So here's my cute little card. So now I'm gonna go ahead and cut some. It's a piece of corkboard. It's pretty thin. It's a lot thinner, but it's a little more dense than the foam. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my dies out. So since my corkboard was kind of warped, I cut off a little piece here so we can go ahead and demonstrate how it cuts with the dies. And on our manual, it says to cut, let's see, cork with liner at a 3. So we're going to put our dial to 3. Place this right on top and run it through. Trying to make the table so it doesn't wiggle a lot. So I cut it out just perfectly. And I could even see some of the little dots that are on there, the little stitching marks. So let's go ahead and try something else. Let's try a piece of felt. So I have some crafting felt here, and we're just gonna stick that die right on top, get it ready. And let's check our manual to see what felt is going to be, and it's going to be at a 7. So let's go scroll all the way up and then run it through. Drop my die. But it cut it out just fine. There's no fringing or anything. It's perfectly cut. And again, you can see a little bit of the stitching, so that will come in handy when you're doing any of those cute little animal stitchings that I've seen people do with the different dies when they put those little pillow animals together. They're super cute. So let's go ahead and try cutting just some regular cardstock. Let's see, this is probably, I think, 65 pounds cardstock. It's not very heavy. Get that there, and let's place all this, and let's double check the different settings. And our manual there. So we are going to regular craft paper, which is thin, so that's not what we want. We don't want a 3. So this says 3 to 4. Since it's a little heavier than regular thin craft paper, let's go ahead and put it at a 4. And run it through. And it cut it out just fine. Stitchings look perfect. There we go. Now let's go ahead and try some embossing. Okay, so let's go ahead and try embossing. So I have my piece of cardstock in an embossing folder, and we're just going to lay this on. So I'm going to play with this a little bit, and it's saying to put it at a 12. So let's see if it goes at a 12. So it's a little tough. I don't really want to force it on there, so I know all companies are a little different with the different thicknesses of the different embossing folders. So let's go ahead and kick it up to a 14. Nope. Let's go up to a 16. There we go. So it was a little tough, but it actually started going through pretty smooth. And let's go ahead and see. And it embossed perfect. So you do have to play with it a little bit. Every manufacturer is going to be a little bit different when they're doing, you know, the different thicknesses of the different products. So let's go ahead and try cutting something a little bit more intricate. All right, so I'm gonna cut, I teach local classes here, and I actually cut out some sentiments using some foam, just some fun foam, no adhesive or anything. And I noticed in the other die cutting machine that I'm using, I had a really hard time pushing it all the way through after I had already ran it through, you know, 10 or 12 times. So I want to see how, even now when I go over to use it, I had a hard time trying to get it to run through. So let's check our manual and see what just a regular die is going to be. Steel dies. Onto some foam, craft foam. We're going to be at an 8. So let's put this down to an 8. And go ahead and run it through. Oh, so much easier. I don't even feel like it even cut anything. Let's see. Oh, I see the impression. If this, wow. I'm actually shocked. It's a little careful. I did not even have any force trying to cut this out, so that's awesome. You do have to be careful because it is, you know, very intricate. Okay, I'm having a little trouble. Oh, that's because I'm trying to pull the wrong thing. Yep, so this works fine. Like I said, it didn't even have any resistance whatsoever. So it cut that out perfectly. Let's see if these little pieces, yep, they come out just fine. All right, so yeah, that worked great. I'm really excited about this machine. I want to go out and buy a whole bunch of embossing plates now because like I said, I never embossed before because it was such a pain and I could never get that sandwich. But, you know, just with the little scroll of the little lever there, I mean, you can just play around with it. You don't have to worry about adjusting the different, you know, sandwich plates. This is a great, and it's so easy to read. I hate reading instructions and stuff, but this, it's so much easier than what I thought it was going to be. So great resource here, this paper. So I would suggest cutting this out if this die cutting machine is something that you are going to be putting onto your must-have list. I hope you found this tutorial helpful, and in your next die cutting purchase, if you have any questions or if you would like me to re-demonstrate something or something out of the ordinary, go ahead and leave it in the comments and I'll make another video sharing what you guys would like to see. So thanks again so much for watching. I'll put all the links down below and have a great day.